This morning, we are taking a look once again at one of D.C.'s biggest unsolved murders. It's been 8 months now since Seth Rich was killed on a street in Northwest Washington.
He was shot twice in the back, just steps from his own home, and just after 4 a.m. on a July morning. The death of the 27-year-old staffer at the Democratic National Committee has been clouded in mystery and speculation ever since. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange offered a reward, hinting that Rich's death was tied to DNC documents that had earlier been given to WikiLeaks. Seth's father, Joel Rich, discounted that theory last fall.
Anybody who knew Seth knows that's not his personality or what he believed in. You know, it just is so counter what Seth believed in.
Rich's brother told Fox 5 that the family is trying to keep the story front and center with the public, but it's an uphill battle.
We started looking at, okay, we have like different ideas that people, would either come to us or that we'd come up with, such as, a direct flyer to people in the general area. But all the ideas do take some level of resources or funding that we don't have. There's a lot of stones that we may want to turn over and we want to look through, but we need the ability to do that.
Well, part of the help the Rich family needs is coming from our next guest, Rod Wheeler. He's a former D.C. homicide detective and Fox 5 News contributor who's now working with Seth Rich's family. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Allison.
Let me just ask you this. Why so few leads in this case?
Right. The police don't have, I don't think the police right now, the detectives, have a clue in terms of who caused the death of Seth Rich. And I think that's one reason, Allison, why the family has engaged me and my company to help the police look into this a little bit more, try to come up with more evidence, try to find witnesses, because they really just don't have a clue.
And what is your role in this investigation, and what did the family ask of you?
Right. They just wanted me to kind of, because I am familiar with D.C. and, been a previous D.C. homicide detective, they just wanted me to kind of look into the case a little bit more, see if I can develop some leads, interview some people, which I've been doing over the past 3 weeks. What's really interesting, since I've been looking into this case, I've uncovered quite a few things, but not necessarily related to Seth's death, but related to a possible underground corruption, organized crime, corruption group that may be operating in the district. Because I've started looking at other homicides and deaths that were called homicide or called accidental deaths, but could have been homicide. So this case, Allison, may actually open up a can of worms as far as what's been going on here in D.C.
As much as you can, tell us what you found and how might this murder be involved,
so to speak, with the police investigation. So you have to ask yourself, why is that? Why hasn't anybody come forward? There's been a lot of reward money that's been offered for any information.
Yes.
No one has come forward. So here's the thing that's so important to realize. Whenever you have a lot of reward money, in this case it's over $125,000, and you don't have anyone coming forward with information, then what that tells you as an investigator is that maybe you need to start looking at another cause or another reason as to why this guy was killed. And that's what we're doing now. We're looking at possibly, of course, a street robbery, but it could, and I underline the word could, it could have been related, his death, to his job. It could have been related to something else. What I don't think it's related to, though, Allison, is this Russian hacking.
Okay, let's talk about that.
I think you were going to ask me about that.
Let's talk about that because Jack Berkman has sat on the same couch and said that the family has asked him to look into the death of their son, Seth, and has also said that he has found connections with, from a former CIA person, I believe, with Russia and all of this. And the WikiLeaks reward money is involved with that, more than $120,000, too, because they say they're hinting at the fact that perhaps Seth Rich may have given some documents.
Sure.
So help us parse all this out.
Well, a lot of people have made that same observation, and you have to ask yourself, what is the motivation behind a person wanting to get involved and offer reward money? Maybe he's just a good guy and he has a lot of money laying around, so this is how he wants to spend his money. But you have to be careful, though, when you start throwing out these conspiracy theories. They actually don't help the investigation at all. If you have a guy who's in the Army, and I think that's what Berkman said, he knew some guy in the CIA or the Army who had information, okay, then that guy needs to be talking to the police detective, not Jack Berkman. You know what I mean?
Did the family talk to Berkman? Do you know how this relationship came about?
I think they have had some discussions with him.
Okay.
But I can tell you and the viewers that I don't think Berkman is officially a representative of the family. Now, the family have their own spokesperson, right? But you have to be careful with throwing out these theories. I haven't found one shred of evidence at all that indicates that Seth's death is the result of any Russian hacking or anything like that. I do think it's possible, and I underline the word possible, that it could have been related to his job to some degree or relationships with the job. Don't know that for sure, but as investigators, we have to go down every path until we can determine who was responsible for his death.
That's so mysterious and curious, Rod. Anything else you can tell us? Like, why would a DNC staffer be involved or be a potential victim?
Well, you know, I don't want to speculate because you have to be careful when you speculate with a homicide case.
Understood.
But I will tell you this, and I will say this real quickly to the viewers, is that any information anyone has, bring it forth, either give it to me and I'll give it directly to the police or give it directly to the police. This case, as well as a number of other homicides in the city, can be solved, but we have to rely on citizens to help us out.
All right, so no new leads from the police is what I'm hearing.
That's the bottom line, yeah.
Okay, Rod Wheeler, thank you very much. Come back and see us.
Thank you, Allison.
Mike, over to you.
All right, thank you, Allison. We are tracking a lot of rain coming up through the D.C. region. Look